Here we are at one of the most important places in North America, the site of the first fort built in 1621. Now what they had at first was just a platform to put their 6 cannons here for defense. There would not have been any of these trees around here, that you would have had a straight view of the ocean in front of us. But this particular building was about 100 square foot, all 4 sides, a perfect square. And then it would have had a higher level where they would have mounted their cannon later on. But the most important thing here, aside from the defense, was this was also their townhouse and their place of worship. It was here that the very first law in America was ever passed. In 1623, they passed the right to trial by jury as immortalized in the Magna Carta of 1215. Wow. And in addition, they had all their town meetings here. These were the first elections of their leaders in North America. Now, of course, the first election was of John Carver, the governor, and that was on board the Mayflower when they elected him. But when this building was built, this is where all their elections were. This is where all the Board of Assistants were elected, the assistant governor, and the governor every single year, right here on this spot. And especially for those who, like myself, am a lawyer, this is absolutely sacred ground for another reason. This was the very first place where the first Bill of Rights was codified, right here. In 1636, it was called the Fundamentals. And this is when they set forth their rights as Englishmen. That isn't going to happen again until the Revolutionary War. But the fact that the Pilgrims had a consciousness that they as individuals had rights is so important to our entire American personality. Also in 1636, they codified the very first law code, which built on the haphazard nature of the laws they had passed in the 1620s, and it was right here on this spot where all the elections, where they would gather in town meetings and each man would have a vote to say yay or nay to the laws, yay or nay to their elected leaders. It was critical. It was also on this spot that Elder William Brewster would have preached, and the Pilgrims would have come up here, up this path, to go to church at least every Sunday, and obviously and much more during the week. This would have been where they worshiped. And then later on, as you can see around me, is a graveyard. This is known as Burial Hill. And this would be where they started to bury their dead in about 1636. They had used Coles Hill down below, and this would become the final resting place for generations of Plymouthians and the descendants of the Pilgrims. So here we are, on one of the most important places, not only for Plymouth, but also important for America. It is the very beginnings of democracy and the rule of law. And as descendants, you should be honored that you are descended from these incredibly amazing people.